Well, hello there. Coming to you live from the illustrious, glorious Central Valley of California. Back here once again in my home turf, just north of the fabulous town of Madera, California. That's right, at my favorite Love's truck stop. I took a long old drive. I don't usually pull such long drives, and I know it wasn't that long of a drive, but for me, I'm a bit of an old fogey when it comes to putting in the long miles. Usually like to keep to, you know, about 200, a little more, give or take. Well, today, I don't know the mileage. I'll have to look it up. But I drove from Landers, California, out there at Matt's house, way out in the desert by Joshua Tree National Park, and all the way through Tehachapi Pass, down through Bakersfield, found my way here, north of Madera. And, you know, I was sitting here watching a couple of my videos, getting a little caught up. I like to watch them, make sure they turned out all right, even though I watch them about, you know, half a dozen times while editing them. Sometimes little things get by, or I'll look at something and go, oh, I could have done that better. So helps me to make better videos in the future, right? Well, so of course I found something, little point that I wanted to address, because I realize, I know I showed you that, like, I got a couple of cool upgrades. Matt did some cool work for me, putting in the tire install up on my roof basket, putting in the light bar up over here, also fixed my seat, my driver's seat, so it's not all floppy jalopy anymore. I also installed new halogen headlights, and I really just kind of glossed over all that, and honestly I didn't even remember or think to film while we were doing most of the work, especially on the light bar, because it was such kind of like an intense project, and I was so excited I didn't even think to throw my camera up, and it was a bit intricate in ways, and me being a large guy, I don't know that I could have pulled it off, getting my hands up in where you need to run the wiring and stuff. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about what actually went into the light bar, most specifically, and fixing my seat. And I'll just talk about the tire again a little bit, show you the final product. I guess while I'm sitting in here already, I might as well just start with the driver's seat. Now, when I got the van originally, as I mentioned in a prior video, the driver's seat was all crazy. Now, it's got a little bit of rock, which probably could be fixed as well, but it used to lean all the way back to where the shelf is here. And it would always be kind of sideways and crooked and kind of leaning down. And that got super annoying when I would drive. Dropped my little piece of petrified wood that my buddy Kyle gave me. Anyways, so all it turned out that was wrong was on the other side of the chair, over on this side, show you in a second, there's a little pin and hole receptor that the chair kind of pivots on, but down here is a bolt. This bolt was super loose because there was no nut on the other side. So Matt replaced this. Now it's super secure. Chair's not going anywhere. It's nice, sits up straight like a good boy at school. Now on this side, it's kind of hard to see, but back in there is a little pin here and a little receptor that holds the seat in and pivots it in place. But since that bolt was loose, it was just floppy jalopy everywhere. Oh, I'm falling over! Now, as you can see, that light install looks pretty clean. And that's all thanks to Matt and his little bit of know-how, a little bit of engineering skills. Now, what we had to do is, yes, we had to bolt it right here into the rooftop, which means that we had to drill into the rooftop. But Matt put a little bit of silicone up there, and should be pretty well weatherproof. Let me jump up here and show you a little bit closer what's going on. Now this is the power cable that comes with the actual light itself. Little power unit here. I took a little double-sided 3M adhesive, stuck both of those on there, and it goes right into the roof there. Now, getting the wiring from the top of the roof into the vehicle and to the battery up front where the engine is, well, that was a little bit trickier. So basically what I had to do, I had to remove all of these panels all the way around, and then this comes off. Pop this out, the whole roof comes down, but it only comes down about this much because the guy who did the van build before me bolted it all in here, screwed it all in there, as you can see. So the headboard's going nowhere. Even if I wanted to replace it, it would be kind of a big pain in my behind. So the light bar is right up here, and the cables drop down beneath this. They run over here, they run behind this, all the way down, 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 down to here, and then they go back through a little opening, a little firewall seal into the engine, and the battery will pop out there. Let me pop the hood up and I'll show you how that's hooked up. These type of videos are not my forte. I know a lot of van guys out there, van life video makers on YouTube, are always posting about their van build, how they did this, how they did that. That's not really my thing. The more I do these videos, the more I find what I really enjoy doing are more of like the travel logs and the local history, and just kind of taking you along for the ride with me. But I realize that people who are into van life, maybe just interested in it, watching it, or out there on the road living it themselves, also do take interest in the build aspect and maybe the upgrades and the tips and tricks and, you know, different ways that people do things. So I guess that I'll try to make a little bit more of a point of getting, you know, a little bit more personal with my van from time to time. But anyways, I gotta balance this on my head real quick since you're in my hands. Right here, we got the battery. And as you can see, back here is the little firewall seal hole. We got the cables running right here from the light right into the battery itself. Now, Matt said that might not be the best way to run it permanently. We might want to get something a little bit better fixture to attach it to, especially if I want to add more lights later, which I don't know. You never know, right? And last but not least, let's jump up here on the roof. And we got the tire right here, spare tire bolted in there, nice and sound. We got these wing nut bolts right here with a plate on top, and hopefully I can show you. We got underneath here, here it is. We got the plate running like this and the bolts coming up through it on the bottom there. Now, we sprayed the steel plates with rubberized Gorilla coating, which I showed in video prior. Got it right here. This stuff works super well. Couple coats on there. It's all rubberized, good to go. And when we were first trying the install, Matt mentioned that, you know, in an ideal world, the bolts would have been welded to the bottom plate. And well, that got me thinking overnight while the Gorilla seal was curing, as it were. And I thought, well, why not just use like something like JB Weld, something like that, to weld the bolts to the bottom so that there's no cattywampus jingling, jungle. And in the case that I have to actually, God forbid, please no, have to take that spare tire down and use it, well, now that the bolts are secured into the bottom plate, it's gonna be so much easier, not only removing it, but putting another tire back on there. You don't have to hold the bolts underneath with two hands. It would be an impossible job for one person to do. So, thanks to Matt, we now have a nice little rooftop spare tire holder. Wow, look at that. I don't know if you can see that behind me here. This is Highway 99. It is, what time is it? 18 minutes after 5 p.m. And look at that. Just north of Madera, about one exit, and it is locked up. Gridlock City on the southbound 99. Why is that? Because the 99 sucks. It's the worst freeway in California as far as I'm concerned, and I try to avoid it at all costs. But when you live right off of it, or your home base is right off of it, I should say, you're kind of forced to dealing with it from time to time. Look at this. It's backed up all the way through Madera, coming back here, couple miles backed up. Because they're doing construction in Madera, they got those lanes down individually, kind of shifted, where they got the, you know, the pylons, I don't know what those are called, those big concrete barriers on either side of you, so you're like driving down a tunnel. I hate that. Well, I hope, if anything, this gave you just a little bit more insight. I know I still kind of rushed through it because I don't have all the footage from the build to show you. I'll try and keep that in mind the next time I do something cool. Sometimes I get too excited about adding something to the van, like, you know, my little doodads here and there, everywhere, all my bits of flair. Sometimes I get too busy with the excitement to remember to film stuff. And unfortunately, quite often, some of the coolest stuff that happens out on the road here doesn't end up on video because I'm not rolling 24/7. So moving forward, I want to try and pay a little bit more attention to just the technical aspects of living in the van and still incorporate that into my normal type of travelogue videos. And guess what? Yeah, I'm going to Yosemite here in a couple of days, and you know I'm not going to be talking much about my van build during that, but that's the way it is. So anyways, I'm just going to have a nice little night. Sun's about to go down. Going to chill out here at one of my favorite Love's truck stops.